Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I am your friendly neighborhood PM here to give you your top 3 market points of the week. Now, if you recall from last week's video, we did mention that there was going to be a lot of labor market data being released this week. That's exactly what we're going to focus on. So without further ado, let's dive right in. And at point number 3, it is average hourly earnings ticking up 0.1% versus estimates of plus 0.2%. Now, that doesn't sound like a large miss or a massive drop off because it still allows the consumer to keep spending. But this does kind of give us an idea that maybe the economy and especially the job market is starting to slow a bit as that wage growth deteriorates just a smidge. At point number 2 is the unemployment rate ticking up to 3.9% versus 3.7% estimated. Now, nobody likes to see unemployment rate jump up, but if we dive into the data a little bit, we'll see that it's actually being driven by more and more people joining the labor market this past month and just not being able to immediately find a job versus mass firings or layoffs across industries. Then finally, point number 1, it's usually the main data point that we talk about when it comes to the labor market, is non-farm payrolls. So non-farm payrolls added 275,000 jobs this past month, well above the estimated figure of 200,000. Now what this tells us is that there's still robust demand in the labor market, a lot of job hiring going around, and really that's been concentrated, especially this past month, in a few key industries, namely healthcare, leisure and hospitality, and governmental jobs. So on a whole, across those 3 points, what does that tell us? What that tells us is that this is kind of a perfect picture of what the Fed is really looking for, which is strong labor growth, but also some cooling on wages and also bringing better supply and demand into balance. Because what the Fed needs is this to figure out what the impact is downstream on the consumer, and then even further downstream as to how that spending from the consumer impacts inflation. And once the labor market can come into a little bit better balance, this really helps crystallize what the Fed needs to do when it comes to interest rates. And this segues perfectly into what we're looking forward to for next week, which is, you might have guessed it, CPI data is next week. So with this data coming out next week, this is going to help once again crystallize what the Fed needs to do. If that data comes in a little bit hotter than expected, maybe we see future rate cuts getting pushed further and further into the future. But right now, we're still estimating the first rate cut should be coming at that May Fed meeting. But we're going to keep you updated on what's driving the data next week, as always. So that pretty much says it for this week's video. We covered the top 3 main labor market data points, what we're looking for next week. But as always, if you've got additional questions, reach out to your financial advisor or dig into the written week in review. Otherwise, go enjoy your weekend. We'll see you the same time next week. Thank you. Bye.